Good morning, Alan Skinner here. In the historical accounts of World War II, American entrepreneur Andrew Jackson Higgins is rarely mentioned. This paper proposes to analyze Higgins' contribution to American wartime efforts within the context of entrepreneurial history. To do so, research analysis will be framed by the following research question. First, what were Higgins' contributions to the development of specialized landing craft? Secondly, what entrepreneurial approaches did Higgins employ? Thirdly, what were the major influences on Higgins' entrepreneurial approach? And lastly, how did Higgins' company influence the ultimate outcome of World War II? So in 1942, Allied war planners were confronted with a major problem, executing amphibious operations against Nazi and German-held territory. In time, the Allies developed and refined amphibious doctrine, tactics, and training, but what was necessary were specialized landing craft to perform those operations. Before World War II, Higgins had worked with the United States Marine Corps to develop and refine those specialized landing craft, and he's best remembered for developing the Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel LCVP, universally known as the Higgins boat. However, he developed many other specialized landing craft and equipment for which he's lesser known, and which is the reason why we wanted to analyze him. So for key primary sources, the digital collections of the National World War II Museum had a great repository of oral histories from Higgins employees, and I found several that were useful. Their primary sources included Higgins boat patents, newspaper articles from the ProQuest database, and a handful of digitized memos from Higgins's paper collection at the University of New Orleans. Unfortunately, most of that collection is not digitized, and so I was unable to access the full collection. Economic analysis was conducted principally by qualitative means through comparisons of historical information from primary and secondary sources. Limited quantitative analysis was done using financial data gathered mostly from secondary sources, and growth of Higgins Industries was calculated by comparing gross sales, number of employees, number of factories, and the number of watercraft produced from 1940 to 1945. A similar quantitative approach was used to calculate the improvement of employee wages from 1940 to 1945. Scholarly literature asserted Higgins paid his employees equal pay regardless of sex and race, and sufficient data was found to tentatively support that assertion for white males and white females. However, I was unable to find wage data for black employees, and the single scholarly work on New Orleans ship boatyards included a vignette that told of black employees not being treated equally at Higgins Industries. Thus, only limited qualitative analysis was possible. Quantitative comparisons for the entire paper were made using data extracted from the Statistical Abstract of the United States of 1946 and federal minimum wage rates under the Federal Labor Standards Act. And lastly, analysis of Higgins' entrepreneurial approach was done using qualitative analysis of the available information. So in conclusion, book reviewer Daniel Woods brings up an important point about Higgins' legacy. Quote, "The arsenal of democracy was fueled by many heroes who never wore a uniform or heard a shot fired in anger." Although inaccurate, as Higgins was a former National Guardsman, the central legacy of self-taught entrepreneur Andrew Jackson Higgins, basically without his vision, unrelenting quest for continuous improvement, and willingness to buck the Washington bureaucracy, American amphibious operations would have been markedly different and likely marked with failure. Higgins' LCVP and LCM craft were foundational to the development of specialized assault landing craft necessary to defeat the Axis powers. In the 1930s, Higgins had the vision and drive to thrive in the American economy at the time, developing and making cutting-edge watercraft that were aggressively marketed to meet the as-yet unknown needs of his greatest customer, the War Department. Higgins attained success through continuous improvement and innovation, pragmatically hiring large number of blacks and women as skilled workers, and pioneering mass manufacturing techniques in an industry previously wedded to craftsman-style processes. Unfortunately, Higgins became a tragic relic of a bygone era, lacking the self-awareness to retire at the peak of his success, and too stubborn to adapt to the post-war economic reality. In a sense, Andrew Jackson Higgins was a transitional entrepreneur who seemed destined to fill a unique niche in the American wartime economy, but fated to never enjoy recognition in his lifetime as the man who won World War II. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate your feedback and comments. Have a great day.